I just hope more parents pay attention to what they allow into their child's lives. You have to show that to them in a fun way and not make it where you're forcing it to where they feel like they have to. So it's just like make learning fun for your kids, make spending time with you fun for your kids, and don't just try to just push them off in a corner because at the same time they're learning life from you.
Welcome to The Power of Family, the podcast where we help families talk, listen, and connect across generations. I'm your host, Terry Willis. Welcome to another episode of The Power of Family. In this episode, we have invited Tiana Medley, a mother of two young children, to share her experiences of raising two young children in today's tech society. And I must add, Tiana happens to be a family member. Tiana Medley, how are you doing there, Tiana?
Well, how are you?
I'm good as well. I'm glad to have you here on this podcast. And of course, would you like to introduce yourself?
Well, I am a 35-year-old mother of two daughters. I have a almost 10-year-old and a 6-year-old, and I am married of almost 9 years now. And I work a full-time career also at a healthcare company. And I love to read. I love to research. I like to spend time walking. And I just like to do all different things.
Okay, then you're just an average mom is what what you like to say here. Okay, then that's good, Tiana. Tiana, you are here because we had a topic, and that topic, it was about tech and kids. And as a mother of two, as you just described, we thought it would be informative of us to bring on a mother like you, be able to share what you do during our age of technology here. How do you protect your children from all of the ills that are out there on the internet?
I would say you have to be very aware. You have to be vigilant yourself, and you have to protect your own kids because there are crazy people everywhere. So me, myself, I am a very hands-on type mom. Like, for example, Roblox, like my daughters, they only play that downstairs on our PlayStation in the big living room on the TV where I could see what my daughters are playing, what they're playing. And also there's so many different settings that I think a lot of parents don't use to their advantage, because in the settings you can lock them off from talking in the chat, because a lot of parents don't know they can talk to people while they're playing. So you have to block that off. You also have to block off messaging. And it's okay for them to add friends because they can't do anything but play more than the games. But you can also limit what games you want them to play based off of their age, because there are a lot of crazy games up there that can get sexual. So you have to go in there and block those things off. And also with my daughter's phone, I can see exactly what's going on because it's logged into my Apple account. So I can see her contacts. I can see what she's doing on her phone. And you can set screen times. If you don't want them playing games all day, or if you don't want them talking all day or on certain apps all day, you can set a limit on it and it will shut it off.
In so doing, or putting these restrictions on them, do you see feedback from your kids, saying, well, Mom, why are you doing this? And do they struggle with you in having these restrictions on them?
No, I'm very honest with my daughters and I talk to them. So my daughter would sit with me while I'm looking at TikTok, and she would see the people live on TikTok and they're playing the same game she's playing, but it opened her eyes that they were adults. So then she was just like, wow, I didn't know adults were playing these little kid games. I thought I was playing with other little girls. And you're seeing, no, you're playing with grown men, grown women. So you have to be aware. So that really opened her eyes to it also. And that let her know to be more cautious.
And that part right there about she discovered how she's playing with adults, I'm going to draw back on one of our previous guests that we had here. Her name was Mary Catherine, and she is a professional coach, life coach. And Mary spoke of how kids, how they allow or don't realize that they are allowing adults to come into their rooms in the very sense that you were talking about right now. And previously, we had a posting out there on TikTok and it went viral. That posting, it was how Mary related to, would you allow a stranger to come into your bedroom? And this is the symbol of what is taking place or can take place. And we receive a range of responses where some were saying, well, parents, they should be more controlling what's going on. And others took the other side. Kids should do what they want to do. And that just gives meaning to having you here as a parent with young children to be able to share what you are doing and how you can prevent them from doing it and how you may be an example for other parents to model.
I just think if you're going to let your children play those games, you need to research them for yourselves first. You need to look and see what you're allowing your child to have access to, who they're able to talk to. And if you can go in there and limit those things, go in there and do it. It's not the best situation to lock your children off and tell them, no, you can't do this and do that, because they're going to find ways to get around that, honestly. But if you can go in there and be more vigilant with what they're doing and monitor it, why not?
And you just gave examples of how to monitor it. Is there other areas in which you feel that parents should also be vigilant aside from just games? Because we know that kids, they have access to their learning materials. And how would this filter in if you've seen it?
I feel like parents should just more so not let their kids be on technology all day, every day. Like, I was one of those parents where you're just like, okay, I have to do this so you can go watch your tablet over here. But then you realize, like, my daughter, she was starting to get irritable. And it was just like, okay, you have to take a break. So I noticed once I told her Roblox only on the TV, she was a completely different child. She wasn't 24/7 glued to her phone and her game. She will play with her sister now.
Another area here that I've read about myself, and I thought I'd present this question to you, and that is that how much usage do you give your child? Because I know from my family members and others, some of these young children, they are up late night, texting one another, phoning one another. When you spoke of having guardrails for your children as to put down the tablet sometime, utilize your playtime with your sister, how do you view the fact that, and I've seen this from some of my family members, when children are on their devices late at night, what is a decent time that you feel children should be using their devices at night, especially when it comes to texting and even calling one another? Is there a limitation that you feel there should be?
My daughters, myself, we do have time limits. They know when they get home from school, it's homework. And then we go then they're allowed to do that. They usually come home, eat their snacks, do homework. And that's usually about an hour and a half to 2 hours after they get home. And then they're allowed to use their tablets until I tell them to get off at 9. I don't let them use it past that.
So you have limitations there as well to the restrictions of how long they play games. What about when it comes to homework? How does that tie into this?
I just like to have them decompress. They come home, they decompress, they eat, they'll talk to me, they tell me about their day. I ask them what happened, different things they learned about. They tell me little exciting things like that. But then it's homework time. And I like to do that because I work from home, so I'm still in work mode. So if I'm sitting here at my desk, I can give you full focus because you're sitting here doing your homework and I'm working. If you have a question, you're my little coworker. That's what we're doing. And then my husband he comes home at the same time they're doing homework. So he usually helps my oldest and I have my youngest and she doesn't have homework. So for her, I just have her read me a book and then we do little things like that. But Other than that, it's always as soon as you get home, because if you don't let them, then they forget about it. And with my oldest, her stuff is graded every day and she has a lot of homework, and I don't want that to fall behind for her.
You truly sounds like a hands-on mom, and I commend you for that. Because we know that too many moms and parents, they sometimes just don't quite aren't as attentive. And again, I commend you for it.
Thank you.
I do. I do.
Thank you.
When it comes to allowing your children to communicate with their friends of their peers, what rails or guardrails do you set up here? Because this can be, even though we know that you're the parent and that your children are under your guardianship, but do you think that there's a such thing here as kids having some sense of privacy?
I set boundaries with my daughter. I tell her, you have your phone, but it's also a privilege. You do what you don't supposed to do with it and you be sneaky. I take it back because we always tell her we don't reward bad behavior, and she knows I check it. When she doesn't know, I'm like a thief in the night. I can check it at any time, but I see everything she's doing at any time, and I let her know I can see it from my phone. Can I at all times? No, but she doesn't know that.
And you won't tell. We won't tell.
We put that fear in her heart. And I also let Candace know, like, you choose your friends wisely. You choose people that make you feel good, that also do the right things. I teach her about children. We name them as grown, but you know what you're supposed to do and what's right and wrong. And you know, if you're seeing people doing that, you're not supposed to be a follower. And I've taught her about that also. And we learn about friends and associates. We learn about friends are people that you can really talk to and they teach you things and you guys can laugh and talk. Associates are just, I speak to them at school and we laugh and talk there, but that's all it is. We teach her that. But she learns at home, you keep it respectful or it's taken away. I feel like more people need to be more mindful of their children's childhoods. They have to realize, like, this is their lives also that they're living for the first time. So it's like, don't just put technology in their face. Spend time with them. Do things like, I take my girls to the library. We go to the park. We have fun. We go to the mall. So it's just like, have fun with them. A lot of parents forget that.
I know that you're doing one hell of a job parenting.
Thank you.
I do. Both of you.
Well, you know, I'm a crybaby.
What brought you to be so emotional just then?
I just take a lot of pride in being a mom. I love my girls and I want them to have a good experience of me and my husband.
And I can see that it is running deep within you right now, because as you told or shared with us your experience as a mom, I can see that it ran through your very soul of how emotional it is for you. That is why we pause for a moment to give you that moment of personal solitude, because you are truly a mom that goes 110% for their children. Anything you want to add? I have to ask you now, is it something more that you want to speak on now that you have welcomed it?
I just hope more parents pay attention to what they allow into their child's lives. Not saying like games and stuff aren't fun and tablets and things like that, because you can do so many things up there. They can learn, they can read, but you have to show that to them in a fun way and not make it where you're forcing it to where they feel like they have to. So it's just like, make learning fun for your kids, make spending time with you fun for your kids, and don't just try to just push them off in a corner, because at the same time they're learning life from you.
Yes, they are, Isaac. And I commend you, because I see it in you. My age and my experience and everything I've gone through, I can see it in you deeply.
Thank you.
I would say your kids need to say thank you, even though we know that they do not quite understand it right now, because we know sometimes they say, Mom, you're mean. You're being mean. Why are you doing this? We know that one day they're going to realize Mom being mean was for a reason. It was to guide them and give them the tools they need in this life.
Yes.
And that is the most that a parent can do for their children is give them the tools. And you are a testament of it at their young age.
Thank you. Thank you.
What do you think should be the do's and don'ts of parenting with parenting young children? Or is there such thing as a do's and don'ts? And I'm going to surmise that you're going to say, as a parent, that's your job to have some do's and don'ts here. So what do you think should be some do's and don'ts here of parenting young children?
It all just depends, honestly, on your kids. Like, I don't think there's like a playbook of what rules you should do exactly for kids because every child is different. Literally, like, I can't do for my oldest what I do for my youngest. So it's just like you have to spend time with your kids, you have to learn them. And then you can know, okay, with this one, the do's and don'ts. And you have to set your boundaries with your kids. You have to let them know, like, you can do this and this, but if you cross that, then this is what's going to happen. You have to let them learn that.
And what are some do's and don'ts in parenting? And I'm speaking of not you putting guardrails on your children, but you putting guardrails on yourself and speaking and communicating with your children. Because we know that you may speak to your friends and family members in one direction, but you do not do that with your children.
I think you want to make your kids feel safe enough to come and talk to you about things. So I think it's more so keeping communication open with them. So they do tell you, okay, well, we play this, and then sometimes we see that and this and that. Because I remember being on video like YouTube and stuff and learning exactly what was out there on Roblox. And I went to my daughters and I straight up asked them, do you see this and this in the games? And do you see this? And they told me the truth. Yes, they do have that, but there's this and that, and we don't do that. So then I went in myself, and that's, like I said, parents should go in and research. They should do their research. If you're going to allow your kids to have access to a game, go in and do the research on the game. Look and see what games are they having access to when they're playing the game. People can talk to them. If you're going to allow them to talk to them, you need to say, I'm going to allow those settings open. And you also need to not just give your child a tablet and let them sit with it in their room all night long, because that's crazy dangerous. And me being a parent myself, I've seen that. I've seen other little kids calling my daughter late at night. So it's like you have to keep those parameters. Yeah, her phone is in here with me, but those kids' parents, they don't even know their child is on the phone that late. So it's sad, but you have to keep your eyes on your kids.
Falls in line with what Mary Catherine was speaking of regarding, would you let strangers into your home, into your child's bedroom? And that is exactly what you were speaking of. And thank you for sharing that again. Well, Tiana, I want to thank you for being a guest here on The Power of Family. And you have surely shared some tidbits of being a family who is loving and vigilant of their children. Thank you for your time. Thank you for all in what you've done here. And hopefully we'll invite you back sometime in the future as your children grow and more demands are put on them. Thank you, Tiana. Before we close, I want to leave you with this. Families don't fall apart because they don't care. They struggle when they don't feel heard, understood, or safe enough to speak honestly. If something from today's conversation resonated with you, I invite you to pause and think about one small conversation you can have this week. One question, one check-in, one moment of listening without fixing. If this episode was meaningful, please subscribe to The Power of Family. Share it with someone you love or send it to your family group chat. You can find more episodes and resources at thepoweroffamilyus.com. Until next time, keep showing up, keep listening, and keep building connection. This is Terry Willis. Thanks for being here.